welcome back to The Deep Dive. You know how we do it here. We take a stack of dense, detailed research and, well, we distill the essential knowledge. Today, we were putting our financial lens squarely on the road, digging deep into the true cost of car ownership here in Europe.
Right.
We're moving well past the sticker price to compare battery electric vehicles, or BEVs, head-to-head against, the traditional combustion engine cars, the ICE vehicles.
And this is so important because it's really moved beyond just an environmental debate now. This is a financial one.
Absolutely.
We've got a really powerful set of sources. Most importantly, the Avens Car Cost Index 2025, which gives us this comprehensive look at the total cost of ownership TCO across 28 European countries.
Okay.
So our mission today really is to figure out, does it actually make financial sense for you to go electric right now?
Okay, let's unpack TCO then, because that calculation is the foundation for this entire deep dive. What criteria is the Avens report actually using?
It's a pretty rigorous definition. They calculate the average cost over the first 4 years of ownership.
4 years, okay.
And they're assuming a relatively high annual mileage of 30,000 kilometers.
Wow, okay, so that's a crucial factor.
It is, because high mileage is where you really maximize those operational savings. They factor in everything.
Yep.
Depreciation, interest, insurance, those are the big three,
Like,
plus all the running costs.
like repairs, maintenance?
Exactly. Repairs, maintenance, tires, tax, but not VAT, and of course the big one, energy or fuel.
And before we get lost in the weeds of the data, what's the big attention-grabbing headline? What's the main takeaway from all this?
Here's where it gets really interesting. The transition to electric. It's not only happening, but it's already winning financially in the high-end market.
Winning.
The biggest takeaway is that battery electric vehicles are already definitively cost competitive across an entire premium segment. The change is coming from the top down.
That totally flips the script on the idea that EVs are always this unaffordable luxury.
It does.
So if premium cars are already cost competitive, let's look at the map. Does this TCO advantage hold up across all 28 countries?
No, absolutely not. The geography is key.
Okay.
Based on the 2024 data, the overall cheapest country to lease and run a car, any powertrain, is Greece.
Greece. Interesting. And on the other end?
On the other end of the spectrum, one of the most expensive is Switzerland.
No surprise there.
Right. And that difference is really driven by things like local taxes, insurance costs, and, labor costs for maintenance in that region.
So Greece is cheap overall. But what if I specifically want a BEV to maximize those savings? Does Greece still come out on top?
It does. It's up there. In 2024, driving a BEV was cheapest in Hungary, Finland, and Greece. What's fascinating about Hungary and Finland is that they likely have some strong incentives or maybe lower energy costs that are pushing BEVs ahead of ICE, even if their overall operating costs aren't the absolute lowest in Europe.
So we have these sort of regional pockets where BEVs are super affordable. What about the broader trend across the whole continent?
The trend is pretty clear. BEV leasing is typically cheaper than petrol and diesel in the wealthier, often higher-taxed Western and Northern European countries.
So think Scandinavia, Benelux.
Exactly. But that advantage is much less pronounced in Southern and Eastern Europe. There, ICE vehicles still have a stronger foothold, maybe lower upfront prices.
That makes sense. Low energy taxes, low purchase costs. The TCO difference shrinks. But you mentioned a universal exception, a segment where BEVs win everywhere.
Yes, that exception is the mid-sized premium segment. That's the one place where the BEV advantage holds true pretty much everywhere we looked.
Okay, so that leads us right into the different vehicle segments.
It does, because the map changes completely when you focus on one class of car.
Before we do that, let's just quickly nail down the numbers. When Avens says a BEV is cost competitive, what does that actually mean?
They set a pretty strict financial yardstick. A BEV is cost competitive if its TCO is within a 5% margin of its ICE counterpart.
5%, so it has to be really close.
Yeah, if it's in that narrow window, it's considered a rational financial choice over those 4 years.
And the undisputed champions of that are the premium midsize cars, the D2 and SUV D2 segments.
Absolutely. This is the single most successful area for BEVs. They're competitive in an incredible 27 out of 27 researched countries.
27 out of 27.
Wow. And the sources give us this really telling comparison. The BMW i4, a leading BEV in this class, actually has a lower TCO than its petrol sibling, the BMW 3 Series, in 21 of those countries.
That's massive. So in a clear majority of Europe, the high-tech EV is cheaper to own than the classic petrol sedan it's replacing.
Right.
But why this segment first?
That's the critical question.
Yeah, why D2 and not, say, the compact cars that sell in huge volumes?
It comes down to two things. First, the buyer in that premium segment is just less sensitive to the initial sticker price, and they're already used to high depreciation. And second, BEV efficiency gains are just maximized in bigger, heavier vehicles that are usually driven longer distances. The savings on energy and maintenance for a premium BEV driven 30,000 kilometers a year, they just start to pile up and cancel out the higher purchase price.
That makes perfect sense. The math works best when the starting cost is already high and the mileage is high. So now let's look at the mass market, where that's not always the case. Where are BEVs struggling?
Okay, let's start with the smaller cars, the subcompacts, like a VW Polo or a Peugeot 208.
Right.
Here, BEVs are competitive in 18 out of 28 countries. So it's a majority, but it's a long way from that universal win we saw in the premium space.
Okay, what about one step up? The popular compact segment, your Renault Meganes, Kia Niros.
This is where the struggle becomes more acute. BEVs are more affordable in only 14 out of 28 countries. Exactly half.
Only half.
Yeah. They tend to win in Western and Northern Europe, but in a key market like Germany, for example, the TCO for a compact BEV still struggles against its ICE equivalent.
And I'm guessing that has a lot to do with the recent scaling back of government incentives.
That's very likely a big part of it.
So where are BEVs the least competitive?
That would be the mid-size standard segment. The D1 and SUV D1 class, think VW Passat or Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Okay.
There, BEVs are competitive in only 11 out of 28 countries. The sweet spot for BEV TCO right now is clearly that mid-size premium car, where the higher initial cost is just less of a shock.
All these figures, though, they hinge on one monster cost we haven't fully explored, and that's depreciation.
The single largest component of TCO, yes.
So let's deconstruct that total cost of ownership a bit more.
Right. The TCO chart really highlights this trade-off. While BEVs have much lower fuel and maintenance costs compared to petrol and diesel, they come with this huge anchor, a much higher depreciation value.
And when you look at the raw numbers, that initial loss is staggering. The sources point out that depreciation can be up to 50% of a BEV's total cost of ownership over those first 4 years.
50%.
50%.
It's the dominant cost block for any new car buyer. And the real question is, why is BEV depreciation so much higher right now?
It can't just be the purchase price.
It's not. It's the residual value risk. A lot of buyers fear, rapid technological obsolescence. The battery in a 2024 BEV might seem ancient by 2028.
And that would kill its resale value compared to a proven, stable ICE car.
Exactly. Plus, the changing landscape of government incentives makes the used price just so unpredictable.
That uncertainty, that risk, is something the buyer has to bear. And to make this really concrete, we found this great example of a user who tracked their personal records for a Tesla Model 3 long range.
Yes, this real-world anecdote is extremely clarifying. There are pure maintenance and charging current combined. It only came to about 20 cents per kilometer.
Which is really low. That's comparable to running a much cheaper, older used car.
Right. The operational benefits are clearly there, no question.
The depreciation figure completely overshadows it.
It does.
That hit them hard at 59 cents per kilometer.
That's almost 3 times the combined running costs. It really puts the operational benefits in perspective. I mean, even if you're driving on free electricity, if you bought that car new, your long-term cost is just dominated by that massive initial loss of value.
And this feeds right into the financing discussion. If depreciation is the monster, what does this data say about the best way to get a new car?
The sources basically confirm that buying a brand new car is an intrinsically expensive hobby.
Right.
Leasing looks attractive because it transfers that unpredictable risk, the kind that wiped out diesel residual values when the regulations changed overnight. It transfers that to the leasing company.
But there's a catch.
There's always a catch. For a financially savvy buyer, the consensus is that while leasing removes the risk, it's generally expected to be financially worse than buying outright because the leasing company has to make a profit from taking on that risk for you.
Right. And that's before you even get into opportunity costs.
Yeah.
Assuming you could earn, say, 7% on the money you didn't spend on the car.
Precisely. It all comes back to the initial capital. That's the big hurdle for BEVs, which is exactly why the premium D2 segment, where buyers already accept huge capital outlay and depreciation, is where BEVs are winning financially.
They're just insulated from that sticker shock.
Only.
So, if depreciation is the problem, how does a luxury BEV managed to compete with some of the cheapest IC cars over a longer period. Let's pivot now and look closer at the Tesla Model 3.
Right, because Tesla's own impact report provides this really powerful 5-year TCO analysis. This is over 60,000 miles, or about 96,000 kilometers.
Okay.
They found that the Model 3 rear-wheel drive TCO was 49 US cents per mile.
And that figure it's virtually identical to a 2023 base model Toyota Corolla.
It is. The Corolla came in at 46 cents per mile. We are talking about a $2,000 difference over 5 years and nearly 100,000 kilometers.
And that tiny difference just evaporates the second you factor in government incentives.
Hmm.
Even a small $6,000 rebate would flip it.
Instantly. The BEV immediately becomes cheaper than the base Corolla in a lot of markets.
And that parity holds up even longer when we look at a 10-year analysis from one of our Italian sources. This one covers 200,000 kilometers.
Yeah, that analysis is really compelling. Over a decade, the estimated TCO for the Model 3 was about 54,500 euros.
Okay.
And that was remarkably similar to new entry-level diesels or hybrids, like a Fiat Tipo diesel at 51,000 or a VW Golf diesel at 55,000.
So the ICE cars have a lower sticker price for sure, but they're much higher operational costs. Fuel, maintenance, road tax. It just perfectly balances the equation over the long haul.
This is the real aha moment of the deep dive. The
Damn.
sources put it perfectly. Costi simili, ma differenze qualitative.
Similar costs, but massive qualitative differences. Let's break that down.
Okay.
If you're paying around 54,000 euros over 10 years for a Model 3 and a similar amount for a Fiat Tipo diesel, what are you actually getting for your money?
You are getting a completely different class of vehicle. The Model 3 is a premium high-end car.
Right.
It offers superior assisted driving, performance that the Fiat or the Golf can't even dream of matching, and minimal maintenance. We're talking no oil changes, dramatically less brake wear because of regen.
Far fewer scheduled services.
Exactly. So the data is telling you that a premium EV can deliver the same long-term financial cost as a basic entry-level ICE commuter car. You're essentially getting a luxury upgrade for free over the life of the vehicle.
It's the superior value proposition that pushes it ahead.
And if we look to the future, the sources hint at Tesla's third-generation platform, which is aiming to cut production costs per vehicle by 50%.
That would be the seismic shift the mass market is waiting for. If they really cut production costs that much, potentially putting the next platform under $20,000, that just completely rewrites the TCO equation against all base ICE models.
Globally, not just in Europe, it would move the needle from just premium superiority to universal TCO dominance.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've established that the TCO advantage for BEVs is strongest in that mid-size premium market and, geographically favored in Western and Northern Europe. The biggest financial hurdle for wider adoption is that huge initial depreciation cost, not the day-to-day running costs.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the data really confirms that for many European buyers today, especially those who drive high mileage and are looking at larger cars, choosing a BEV isn't just an ecological choice anymore. It's already an increasingly rational financial decision that also happens to give you superior performance and tech for the same long-term cost.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. If battery technology keeps getting better and helps reduce that massive 50% depreciation hit, and if manufacturers like Tesla actually hit that 50% production cost reduction goal, will the next car cost index we look at show BEVs dominating all segments, even the subcompact class, truly ending the financial competition with ICE vehicles for good?
That future index is really going to provide the definitive answer to the ultimate financial question of this whole energy transition.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into the true cost of driving electric. We really encourage you to follow the channel to make sure you never miss an episode.
And thank you for listening. We really appreciate you tuning in.